So I am going to do this little section because I really think it's important when we're trying to bring in our light language. I did mention it in some of the other videos, but I do think it does deserve its own little module. And that is the whole belief around light language. And I was someone who started their spiritual journey working on their emotions because I started looking at manifestation and the rules of manifestation with Abraham Hicks and trying to be in that state of the energetic match of what you want, raising our thoughts to get to a high vibrational state. But to get there, we had to look at what are those things that are holding us down. That's our emotions. So one of the main arms of what I do is emotional alchemy, which is turning our emotions into something beautiful, because they are the key to everything. And if you are someone who hasn't looked at their emotions or hasn't done any of that emotional healing or work, you may find that being able to connect to your higher self and bring on that light language may be a little bit more difficult. I don't think I would have been able to get where I am now if I hadn't done all that work that I had done. And I did a lot. And right in the middle of my emotional healing, and as I was working more on my connection to my higher self, I got to deal with the sudden loss of my husband and the grief and the emotions and all the stuff that goes with that as well. So, you know, being that it was a tragedy in itself, it was also being able to sit and feel and be in that and have all those emotional tools and work through it all that catapulted me more into this direction. I'm not saying that being spiritual, having light language is like, I hate grief. Yep, that's fine. I'm done. That doesn't hurt me. It's not. We're still a human. We still feel. We just get to understand and witness things in a different way, which I believe helped me so much, being able to move through that, as painful as it was and still is. It's definitely helped me to be able to move through that. And I honestly think if I hadn't done any of that healing work and hadn't sort of clicked into my spirituality, I don't know if I could have got through that as well as I have so far. So if you are interested in doing more emotional work, please let me know. I have lots of programs and things I can help you with. But the emotional work that I'm talking about is removing those beliefs, layers, thoughts, values, codings, whatever it is that is holding us back from being our true selves. And sometimes if you've never done any of that work, you won't know how to identify what I mean. But it's similar to one of those beliefs I spoke about earlier, where we're told that, you know, we have to work hard for money and we need to finish school, go to uni, get married, have kids, buy a house. That's a belief. That's not real. But if you're someone who's like finished school and you went to uni because you think, well, that's what I'm supposed to do, isn't it? Because that's what everyone else is doing. That's what everyone else is telling me. And I'm not saying, no, that's not your journey, but it's not everyone's journey. It's not, we have to do it to be an adult. We don't have to get married and have kids and buy a house. Their beliefs, their stories that have come in from someone else. And it wasn't, you know, from a malicious intent. It was something that maybe our parents learned from their parents, or it may be something that was representative in, you know, our past lives or passed down through our ancestors, our, you know, our grandparents, or down through our DNA lines or whatever. It's all these different things that we take on as our own, that are stopping us from being able to have that connection to our divine self. And the number one is going to be anything we have around not believing that this is true, not believing in that soul essence of who we are, not believing that we are all connected or part of this oneness, if that's what you believe, but not believing that we are energetic frequencies and that there is this whole big connected energetic space out there, and so many other different beings and collectives and gods and stories and knowings and so much out there. The human, if we've not been brought up with any of those thoughts, is not going to take any of those things on as real. They're going to look at those things and think, nope. And that can come back to a lot of things. And I haven't even mentioned this in this course because I think this is a whole deeper dive. We don't want to get into everything, but sometimes when we're doing some of that emotional work, we need to look into our Akashic records. We need to look into courts, contracts, vows, blood ties, all the things that happen to us in this whole existence. And I'll just briefly speak about the Akashic records, which is the history of the everything of who we are, and it will be the other lives that we had, the whether they're past lives. There's two schools of thought in Akashic records. There's Akashic records, which is our human history, which is all our human past lives. Then there's also a similar type place called like the halls of Amente, which is more of our galactic everything. So all the places and knowings and experience we've had with all our galactic timelines and non-earthly type existences. You can try both of them on and see what works for you. I do it all a bit differently, but we're not talking about that now. But part of our emotional journey is being able to find whatever it is that is holding us back from believing that we can connect to our high vibrational state and that we are able to emit our own light language because of this energetic frequency. That is the part that's really going to help you bring that on, because I know for me it was like, you sound like an idiot. Or it's not light language, you're just making shit sounds up. That's ridiculous. And there's not a thought that I haven't had that you're going to have if you're on that journey. And the only way, like with anything, the only way to get to the other side is to go through it. So if you are on that light language journey and you do find these emotion stories and beliefs that are coming up, first of all, I invite you to ask, is this mine? Is this thought that I'm having mine? And if it's not, send it back. It's not yours, let it go. If it is yours, do some digging. There's a lot of emotional healing tools that we can use to start digging to find that out. I'm not talking about that here. But find your own tools to get those emotions out. And as we start releasing more and more of these emotions, more and more of these disbeliefs, because we're not believing that any of this is true, you're going to allow more and more and more in. If you do want some info on any of the techniques I used, I can tell you that the ones I used the most for me was tapping. It wasn't the traditional EFT. It was called RRT. It was a different type of tapping. I'm also certified in that. I also use clearing statements. I do energy releases. I make up my own modalities. I pull energy out. I find the chords or contracts in the Akashics and collapse them. There's so many different ways that I've used those modalities along the way to start releasing a lot of those big emotions and beliefs that have been holding me back. Now, if things come up, I do try to use my light language first and refer to some of those other techniques and stuff as I go. But, you know, as you start clearing, they don't come as much, and if they do, they're not as big, and your awareness changes because you really start to be able to notice them and see them a lot quicker and a lot better and go, oh, okay, it's triggering me. Where am I feeling that? Why am I feeling that? What's the emotion attached to that? What's the story attached to it? Blah blah blah. And we will go down the whole little road of questions and understandings and find a way to release that. So once we can release a lot of these beliefs, you are going to find that your connection to your high self is going to be a lot easier and a lot greater. But I hope that little bit helped. I know I haven't given you any tools or techniques, but it is something that you need to be aware of. And I honestly believe it's the one thing that's going to hold you back the most is you believing that it's not real, it's stupid, no one else is doing it. I sound like an idiot. I'm not doing it right. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm here to tell you, don't worry about any of that. None of it matters. I'll see you in the next video.